Whew. Man, I'm beat. Something you said about packing your full pack straight up a mountain for 5 hours. But I got another email here sent in. I'm going to share this one. And it's a common story, harboring it basically all their life. Listen to this. It's pretty frickin' peaceful around here, man. There's no human beings for absolute ever. Well, there might be a handful on the other side of these mountain ranges somewhere sheep hunting, but nobody here. Just the lake and the loons, and the grizzlies and the caribou and the sheep and the goats and the moose and whatever else is running around that timber back behind me. But it's a pretty cool place to be. There's no worries, no stress, and you really get to get a good perspective on the real world once you get away from that idiot box and the dog shit that mainstream's been feeding us, right? But anyway, before I start babbling, let me get around to here. Let me share this email with you guys. All right, listen to this one. I titled it "Harboring Fear." I titled it "Harboring for 19 years." Thank you for allowing me to have a platform to share my story. It's been sitting with me for the past 19 years. My name is Ian. I was living in West Virginia, close to the Moundsville, in a pretty remote area. The place that I've lived in, I later learned, was forbidden from traveling or hunting unless in large groups by native tribes due to either monsters or ghosts, or they just didn't like it. There was later rumors of murder and other strange things in the area, and generally speaking, it had a bad vibe. I think you've been out in the woods long enough to get what I'm talking about, especially certain areas. Other areas, by contrast, had this kind of creepy nostalgic vibe, which was really good feeling, but at the same time, didn't feel altogether too good, if you get me. Almost like those pitcher plants that draw their victims in with sweet smells. Used to wander a lot in the woods and help my friends with the dairy farm. It was about a 5,000 acre property, and I used to wander up and down the hills and through the woods often. One night, I'm on the second story overlooking the road, and I saw a black shadow. It was crouching over, slumping, kind of like walking if it was bent over, and even though it was bent over, it must have been at least 10 feet tall. Wow. It was about 3 in the morning, maybe a day or two after 9/11. Like I said, it was a pretty remote area, but I think the creature probably was crouching because it was walking next to the road. As I looked down, it looked up, and I could see the red eyes. They seemed to be reflective. It definitely was very hairy, but in the shadow so hard to see clearly. Now seeing this, I immediately went into the fight or flight mode. You get this kind of adrenaline rush. Now hanging on the wall next to my window was a hunting bow. My instinct was to grab it, for I didn't exactly know what I was going to do with it, but just the idea of holding it made me feel better. And as soon as that instinct came in me. Now please understand, this is the absolute truth. My door was locked, but as soon as I had that feeling that I should grab the bow and shoot the damn thing, my door unlocked and swung open, and I immediately spun around to see, but nothing was there, and I looked, and the creature was gone. Crazy. Thank you for allowing me to tell my story. I guess I don't really care if the people believe me, but it's good just to be able to tell somebody about it. It's kind of haunted me my whole life. Wow. Ian, that's a pretty freaky frickin' experience, man. I don't know what I'd do if something like that happened to me. That's crazy. What a bizarre experience. I don't even know what to say to that one. More deadbolts. I don't know. It's very bizarre. The experiences getting emailed in are never the same, but the majority of them carry the same theme. They're unknown and somewhat creepy and scary. It's funny that's one of your main memories for when 9/11 went down. It's different than mine. I like everybody else in the world, I know where I was. I was remote north of the Alaska Highway when 9/11 went down, and we didn't find out until I think 7 or 8 days after it had happened. We didn't have a clue. Nobody knew in camp. and the pilot came in, and we had a couple guys from West Virginia, and their vehicles were at Dulles Airport, Dulles, however you pronounce it, and the pilot came in, and I'll never forget how he started. He just gets out of the plane, looks at the hunters, and he goes, your country's being attacked, the trade centers, the World Trade Center's crumbled, the Pentagon's been bombed, airplanes are being hijacked and crashed. And we're all looking at him like, what? And then, and he had to get a special permit to fly bush plane up here, just to fly bush plane in the Rocky Mountains. He said he had to get that special permit, and the airways were all locked down. And that's my memory from where I was during 9/11. And then the next hunter that managed to make his way to us was later on, another week later, and he brought a People magazine, I believe, with all the photos. And I could not believe it. And we were still in the woods for another September, October. We were still in the woods for, I think, another 40 days until we got home and could see exactly what was going on. It was pretty wild. But anyway, that was a bit of a ramble of unrelated topic. But yeah, I don't know what to say, man. Whatever that thing was sounded pretty big and intimidating, and if I wanted your ass, I'm sure I would have had it, right? But how do you know, how do any of us know who's friend or foe? You know, how does any of us know that we should be just shooting on sight, or running, or throwing him a sandwich and a coffee and offering him a coffee? I don't know. I haven't a frickin' clue yet. We're working on it. We definitely know a lot more. I know a lot more now than I would have ever dreamt of knowing. There's a lot of information coming in. We've got a lot of information to share. But it sure is a mind-boggling topic, wouldn't you think? It's funny, I'm in the middle of nowhere right now, you guys, so it's kind of easy for me to... I'm just waiting for a bush plane now, so it's kind of easy for me to babble away to this phone. I set a trail camera on this bear trail the other day. I'm trying to leave it there as long as I absolutely can before I grab it, because I'm pretty certain I'm going to get a grizzly on it, and it's just around the corner from the tents. And I have an SD card reader as well, so I can check the card here and see if anything went by it. It'll be pretty interesting. Either way, I'll show you what the prints look like here in this next clip. And then, who knows, maybe this evening, when the light gets a little better, I'll get a better backdrop of this lake in the Rocky Mountains, and I'll show you where we are. And I'll see if I can dig up a couple more emails. But there you go. There is another one. Those are big steps. Alright, so this is our second day here, 2 nights here. We're all packed up. We put a stash of stuff up in the trees of the lake, and I brought a trail camera. So this tree right in front of me, there's a major trail going around the lake right here. And there's a major bear trail. You can see by these footprints. Look at them. That's like big grizzly bears stepping the exact same footprint for years. We're talking years and years. I mean, look at that. It's all pulp. Everything's pulped. And I'm anticipating he's going to go up the mountain. But anyway, so this tree right here is a scent tree for all sorts of game. And I can see it even clearly from here. There's grizzly fur stuck to the sap all over the bark. The bark's rubbed raw. So what grizzlies do is when they're on tour, they leave their signature on the tree. And other bears will smell it and see who's there, what's up. So I'm going to leave the trail camera on this intersection for the whole time we're gone, which could be, I think we packed for 6 or 7 days. And it's kind of fun to see what's on the trail camera when you come back. And sometimes you probably don't want to know what's on the trail camera when you come back. But it's going to be pretty cool. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to set this camera up probably right here on this tree facing, so I can catch this trail and that trail and the rub tree. And hopefully nothing sees the camera and chooses to rat shit. There you go. Here we go.